Maryland sports fans, there's only one sports book in the great state of Maryland with over 50 years experience booking bets and supporting customers. Betfred Sportsbook at Longshots is now open and is the only sportsbook in Frederick offering cash betting on football, basketball, world soccer, and more. Visit the Betfred Sportsbook at I-270 and MD-85 in Frederick, right next to Longshots off-track betting. Go to betfredsports.com for more information and your chance to win exclusive merchandise. Must be 21 or older. Play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome to ImmaLetYouFinish with Courtney and Amy on the Pantheon Podcast Network. It is show 78.
78. 78.
How you doing, Ames?
Yeah, okay. I mean, it's we finally have winter on the East Coast.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, but it's New York. I mean, listen.
But I'm a summer baby, so this is just not my jam.
Yeah, you know what? Let's, at the risk of being like, we have heat. We have a place to live.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I still hate winter.
Yeah, I don't.
I understand. I understand why people kind of move down to the warmer regions. I really do, because as I get older, first of all, I've never enjoyed winter, but as I get older, I just don't like it. Like it. The
one good thing about winter, though, unlike summer, I mean, I'm a spring and fall person myself, but the one good thing about winter, as opposed to summer, is that you can always put on more clothing. If you're sweating like a pig, you can't do it. But the point is that we're all relatively healthy. Got my latest PCR test back. All good. Yeah, so we're all good.
And I have a stash. I have an extra home test here that I'm just waiting in case I need to use it again.
Well, they said actually that we are. Take it at we have kind of hit saturation point and things hopefully will start dropping. So
I mean, because there was no one left to fucking get this shit. I got home from Richmond and everybody was sick. I was like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, what happened?
Well, one person who has fucking COVID, but he's a special rich white man, so the rules don't apply to him. Well, actually, there's two of them now. Boris Johnson, well, he didn't have COVID, but Novak
actually
Djokovic,
he did have COVID. Remember when he had COVID?
Oh, yeah,
he did have COVID.
Yeah, Novak Djokovic, or as we should call him, Novak Dopa-Joke.
Oh, God.
So,
again, we have had this conversation a million times. I do not feel like anybody should be forced to get vaccinated. That just means sometimes you got to sit some shit out, though. What you can't do is, I feel like you got caught in a lie more than once. And then it's
several times.
Everything is like, on this form, it was human error. On this form, well, my team did it for me. It's like, come on.
First off,
throw him the fuck out.
Get him out. All right. Well, here's my feeling about it. First off, he's a great athlete. Who cares? Okay. Him being a great athlete really on a day-to-day basis has no impact on the normal person's life. He's a great athlete. That's fantastic.
Yep.
Good for him. He's had COVID before.
Yep.
And he wasn't forthcoming about it.
Right.
And he was out and about back when this is pre-vaccine. He had COVID. So he had the bad COVID before. All right. He is very vocal in his vaccination status. Again, if he were not a public figure dealing with unsuspecting people all the time, that would be that's a different case. He is going into a country where they have been under a severe lockdown, where people couldn't go to funerals, people couldn't go to weddings, people couldn't go outside without risking.
Listen, I have a friend who went over there to film a movie. There were all of these rules, right? First of all, you had to, tested, vaccinated, all of that stuff. Then when you got there, you were put in a room for a 14-day quarantine. Like, he couldn't even touch his bag when they landed. They took you there. Somebody pressed the button of the elevator, checked you into the room. Now, you could order things like Uber Eats, but it came downstairs. Somebody knocked on your door. It was on a tray outside. You could not do anything.
Right. So, I mean, and the thing that the escalation now is that, first off, the tennis the tennis authority deciding it was okay. All right, well, there's two things. He very conveniently got COVID 3 weeks before he's going to be in the championship, knowing that he's not vaccinated. So that's, gee, how convenient.
This is the second time, right?
Yeah, and you just happen to get COVID, which, by the way, shoots the whole natural immunity theory out the window. You know, I'm young and healthy and natural immunity. But you got COVID.
Well, I'm saying the second time, maybe he wasn't sick, right? So we can't say what his immunity was.
But he's lost all credibility.
Well, he lost all credibility because of the lie about one form saying
that's the new development.
He hadn't traveled, outside of Serbia, and then there are pictures of him. He went to Spain, he went somewhere else, and it's like.
And he also knew he was cut. The thing is that it's just lie upon lie upon lie, and
the picture, right? And there is a picture circulated
shifting
of him
blame
the day that he supposedly found out he was positive without a mask at an event
around children. Around children. So here's my situation is the same. First off, I think he should be thrown out of the country. Screw him.
Yeah.
He's not coming there delivering national aid.
Well, I just think for anybody, the rules have to be the same for everybody when it comes to health.
Right. And the thing is, though, it's just very funny to me, or not funny, interesting that the same tennis association that fined Naomi Osaka thousands of dollars for not wanting to participate in a press conference, which had no impact on anybody else because she wanted to take care of herself, seems to look the other way when this super entitled and, quite frankly, uniformly
women of
dislike
color in
person.
tennis. Listen, you see what they do to Serena. They will take points over these guys, can curse and throw rackets. But the women of color in this sport still deal with those sort of microaggressions, right? Because this dude, here's the thing. Australia fucked this up too. It is a national embarrassment. I get it. But now, he goes to court, blah, blah, blah. But you find out on two different applications, there are two things that were, I'm sorry, they were not errors. They were lies.
He lied.
He should be kicked out. This whole thing where they're trying to, let's see, because why haven't they done it? Anybody else would already have been gone.
No, of course.
Why is this stretching on? Because he's been in Melbourne in the park practicing. So now it's the national embarrassment of it is already done. You've already had prime ministers having to speak and making public comment. It's really dumb. He should already be gone.
It's with the federal government now. And I guess one benefit of this is that he was put in a hotel where they house refugees, and now maybe the entitled and the wealthy and the elite will see how we treat people who are trying to come to countries to get a better life.
Oh no, they won't see that. The only thing
maybe
you're asking so much of people, please.
Well,
watching how people have been acting through this pandemic is really.
It's got not the pandemic. I'm just talking about basic human.
Yeah, me too. But this is shown. This is a time where you can show you would think basic human decency during a pandemic has come, and that's not what was shown. So I don't have faith in people learning some lesson. I actually see how people have been acting, and it's quite fucked up.
Yeah. I feel like he will be kicked out. I think it's
he should be. And speaking of,
it's reached the saturation. I mean, it really has. At this point, he has forced their hand because it's too much.
It's like, dude,
you and I have traveled internationally.
But the fact that it was like, wait, it was a lie on two different forums, those little things like has he traveled? Someone on your team didn't realize, your team who sets up your travel didn't realize you had traveled more than once. No, sir.
No. And I don't believe it's So I think he's gone.
Speaking of fuckery and bullshit, well, we have a new mayor, kids.
People who voted for him, and I'd love to know what they think because I didn't vote for him, and nobody I know voted for him. Nobody I know. Eric Adams. Okay, those of us who live in New York and who pay attention to politics have known that Eric Adams is suspect for years. He has always been. Now, yes, politicians tend to be a little slippery sometimes, but Eric Adams is like an oil slick of slippery. And he's been under ethics investigations as a state assemblyman or state senator. I forget if he was assemblyman or senator.
He was a senator,
yeah. Being the borough
and he's
president
appointing people that were under investigating. And being like, well, I can't let one mistake hold somebody who from a job they can do. It's like, or appointing his brother.
Well, that just changed that this morning.
Oh.
So he appointed his brother. Well, there's several things that's wrong with Aragon. The first thing is that he's just another one of these. What is it with men from Queens who think I alone can fix it? Okay. He came in, and
I'm
he
from
referred
Queens, what he's saying.
I'm from Queens too, but I alone can fix it. He came in with this you have a mayor with a lot of swag, and shut up.
Oh my God. He had a press conference, everybody. Please
Mayor
look this
Swaggy.
up,
That's my new name for him.
Where he said swagger 12 times. And
12 times.
in the cringy way that, when your parent first tried to keep up with you and say something cool, he was like, this city needs a mayor with swagger. They need an assemblywoman with swagger.
No,
we
don't need
swagger.
any of that.
And I'm sitting here like, we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. The crime is in fucking sane. People are getting shot around the corner from my house, stabbed around the other corner from my house. I don't need swagger, motherfucker. I need you to come up in here and get this crime shit under control.
Well,
it's like, it's so weird. Amy and I have had this thing where I texted her randomly the other day. I said, girl, it's actually going to be worse than what we thought.
Well, what's really
interesting, be worse.
I mean, what's interesting about Adams is that in many ways, he would be an ideal candidate. Right. He is someone who grew up in New York. We haven't had a mayor who grew up in New York in 16 years. Mm-hmm. So that would be interesting. He is from the outer boroughs, which is very often misrepresented. He is a person of color. He is working class. He has come up through the system. He should be. But the other day he had a speech where his thing is that, and I understand what he's trying to say. He's saying that we can't shut down the city. I agree with that, but we have to take precaution. We can't shut down the city. And he referred to people who have front-facing jobs and as low skills.
And that they don't have the skills to be in the corner office. And I'm thinking, the person you don't know what that guy who's a delivery driver. Some people have come here from other countries and they're illegal. They might be a doctor. And you know how they're having to start here? Be a delivery driver and work in that bodega because of our fucked up immigration system where it's hard to come and he can't just use their license. So I just thought, I understood what he was trying to say, but to me as a mayor, it was said really clumsily because it's your job to try to make a path for anybody in those jobs to be able to get a path to education, to better their lives, to be able to one day end up in the corner office, not just in there's some low skill. I mean, the way he's been talking out the gate has been really crazy. And the one thing that has kind of put that shit on pause is the unfortunate fire that we just had in the Bronx, because that has shifted a lot of focus to that situation. He created that fund and that whole thing because he kind of needs a reset a little bit.
I think we are seeing exactly who he is.
Yep.
I mean, when someone literally says that and he just has changed his brother's title, his brother, who, by the way, is a former NYPD cop, but is also currently running the parking garage at some university in Virginia. So there you go. There's a low skills worker. When you can literally, with a straight face, justify hiring your brother for $250,000 about a year, as he's the only person who can protect me because he's my brother. That is the dictionary definition of nepotism, be saying because he is my brother, he has now lowered his salary and changed his job description. So he's going to be more of a personal detail. But it's just interesting that a man who is a former police officer.
Well, and he said it on the truck, I won't need security. I'll be carrying a gun. Listen, let me just say this. My father was in NYPD. Once a cop, you're always a police officer. It just never leaves you. No matter what he says, it is just one of those things. It never leaves you.
Which is why I voted against him. Sorry. And it's just funny to me that the man who he's basically saying that the NYPD is not qualified to protect them. So how are you going to run the city when you've already said that we all have qualms with the NYPD, but you've basically said the NYPD is not qualified. The newly elected city council, I'm going to shoot them all down because it's mainly women and mainly progressive. I mean, he's listen,
the way he was talking about them, and I was like, you haven't even done anything with them yet. Like, is this? I'm looking at him like, wow. So you Okay, another one-term mayor, kids.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have any
Why
allies
New
in
York
this town.
City cannot? Why can't?
Because
we
nobody wants the job. That's the thing.
Everybody wants the job.
Who really no. The person who always really wants the job gets the job. Because think about it. They work harder. They just become the name. We have the lowest turnout of all of these elections. The person who usually the only person who really got fucked over for real and wanting a job and didn't get it again was the fucking woman, Christine Quinn. You know what I mean? Because she really wanted the job. And de Blasio came out of nowhere and got that gig because of the shit that, the rezoning with St. Vincent and that situation. And she put her hedges on Bloomberg and he didn't support her. But you think about everybody who really wanted the job, they usually get it.
Yeah, it's a thankless job.
Yeah,
it is. It is said it is the second hardest job in America. Which is next to being a president. It's a thankless job.
And you think about how many groups and people in this town have power and over different areas.
We're 5 different states just unto ourselves. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You wanna segue into sports teams, and then we'll go around to the weekend since we want to keep it on.
I'm just really happy. I would like to say that the Giants have fired everybody. Thank you so much. Yes.
I don't pay attention.
Thank you so much. Dave Gettleman retired.
Now, excuse me, at the risk of being, because I love sports,
but I don't pay attention.
Okay,
and Joe Judge is the former coach who was terrible and needed to fucking go. And our Knicks, they've had their struggles this season, but they're fighting. And RJ fucking Barrett has really been coming into his own again. Well, Obi's always been the guy. RJ, was supposed to be the guy and kind of was slumping a little bit. But lately, he's starting to find his footing again. So, our Knicks, we're fighting for it.
Here's the thing about the Knicks. I don't think either one of us, I mean, we'd love it. Either one of us are expecting a championship out of the Knicks. But it's just nice to be able to wear Knicks, as I've said, Knicks merch, or talk about the Knicks without people looking like you, that you're out of your mind.
Right.
So
I always think, to me, we're a few years maybe away from that, but I do expect us to be in the postseason because I think we're fighting and I want to see us get through the first round of the postseason.
We were in postseason last year, right?
We were. So, to me, it's like fight that fight. They're our team. Oh, by the way, today, we'll be off. We will have already recorded because we record in the morning. Today, a new Adele video premieres, and I would like to make a prediction. The prediction is there'll be a lot of beauty shots, and she will look pretty.
Yes.
There'll be no storyline whatsoever, and she'll have on something expensive. I think that's pretty much going to be the plot of the new video.
Black and white or color. I think it's color, this one.
I think it's probably both. Watch, she likes to give us a segue into both.
I will say though, and I do love her, and we've had this. I would like to stop seeing videos where you drive by people who are supposed to represent the common folk and the trash, and they're all like drinking, and it's kind of like, come on. I mean, I would like to see that the representation of like the common folk is girls going whoop whoop driving. We don't need common folk. You're driving with nails where you could like literally pick nits from a million miles away from them. So
I like something with a narrative just once. Just maybe a narrative.
Well, you don't think there's a narrative in this? She's packing up the house from Hello and she's moving on. That's the narrative. It's the same house and the same director.
That's true. Okay, fine.
No. I mean, that's the narrative.
I know, but it's just boring. It's always her by herself.
Well, the thing is, she doesn't have a band.
Right.
She doesn't have dancers.
Why the fuck were her tickets like $5,000?
Because people are idiots. She doesn't have. She is a singer, so that's what they're showcasing. I'd rather that than somebody who obviously can't sing, who's moving all over the place.
Listen, I love it all. Give me some fuckery. I have my girls who can't sing but have a high production value. And you know what I mean? That is, look at me.
No, I'm talking about in the video, but I'm not surprised. Is this one of her up-tempo songs that's coming out?
It is.
Okay.
It's Oh My God.
Oh, I love that song. Yeah, I love that song.
That's the one, because I don't think that was originally supposed to be the second single, but that's the one when the album came out, people really grabbed.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is good that they went with some tempo next.
Yeah.
It's a great song. Nice.
Yeah, it's always nice to have a little energy in the winter. We need a little boost.
And again, I predict couture.
Yeah,
and I predict lots of beauty lighting. I think
I'll give her this though. She was
Mm-hmm.
pictured at was it a Clippers game or a Lakers game the other
Mm-hmm.
day? At the really unfortunately renamed Staples Center. What is it? The cryptocurrency.
yes.
Awful. Note to sports teams: never name your stadium after something that could be done with in a week. Like Citi Field. Really no good.
Yeah.
But she was pictured with her boyfriend Rich Paul, and she was wearing Jordans. So she is at least one of those women who knows that when you're going to a basketball game, wear heels and diamonds that you dress to go to a basketball game. So I'll give her that. I appreciate.
I don't mind heels and diamonds at a game. You know me. Just as long as you know how to do them right, because you got hood diamond looks and shit. You can't.
No. You don't wear heels to a basketball game.
Yes, you do.
What if they need you, Courtney? What
if you are sitting courtside sometimes and you have to give a full look, and you know me, I am like, I need you in a heel. I was working with an artist once, and she hurt her ankle and it was really fucked up. We had to, right at the beginning of the album campaign, we had to do lots of things, and it was always in sneakers, but there'd be like 1 or 2 times I'm like, okay, you're going to get out there and just stand and lean on this, but you got to wear a heel.
But what if they need you? If they look out into the audience and say, can anyone here do a layup? I'm just saying, you have to dress for emergencies.
No, emergency is,
or you have to run. All right, you're talking to someone who's worn heels.
And listen, and I'm sure her Jordans were a very cute, exclusive pair. You know what I'm saying?
Regular. They were just regular Dunks. I saw them. They were just regular Jordans. I have. Anyway, we are excited about her.
Yeah.
Now
we are. I think.
Yeah, we are excited about. All right, so the album, no pun intended, of the Weeknd was The Weeknd, and it's getting phenomenal reviews.
It's really good. It's really good. I know we rag on him as a weirdo on this show, and I do think, like, I don't really care about him as a person. I've never really needed to see an interview. I don't care what he has to say as a person. Have you ever seen
an interview? I've never seen an interview.
But he does make good music, and this, and he makes really good albums, like complete albums. And I like this album. I put it on and I was like, okay, I get it. I get what you're doing here. I get this. It sounds really good. You sound really good on it. And I'm never mad at somebody who's like, you can tell he's in that period of his career because, like I was in the music industry when those first free albums were going around. Remember, I think it was like in the Fader, they had sent it out. There was like,
it was the Fader, Pitchfork. It was internet only, right?
Yeah, and I got those.
It was a trilogy.
Do you remember? I have them. Hold on, I can look them up right now. I have them here on my.
And
computer.
that's when he was big into his big into fuck boy coke and girls. The songs are about that, and they were very dark and very atmospheric. And he was seen as the heralding.
Okay, the one was Echoes of Silence. Remember, there was Echoes of Silence. Yeah. And what was the other one?
But it was a trilogy. It was released as a set.
And the other one was called Thursday.
Right.
I can't remember what the other one was.
Well, the point is that you're right. He look, we do joke around about him. I don't have a problem with him. I just don't have a sense of who he is. Which, you know what? Okay, that's fine. He's always made, he has dropped the whole scary red suit thing. Now he's, it's a great sounding record.
Listen, but I like that he has eras in marketing campaigns, and that those eras thread from the first single to the final single of an album. To me, that is great marketing, and it's really staying on trend to whatever you're trying to deliver and talk about and say during that period, because no one is doing that anymore. No one really has a campaign. It's like, because of streaming, like so much shit gets thrown out there, then all of the videos are just different. There's no thread.
Well, let me ask you something seriously, and I'm being serious. I mean, I know what you're saying. I understand you're talking about the sort of complete and cohesive presentation. I understand that, but if he put out a great record and there was no buildup, it would still be a great record, right?
Yeah, it's still. But the thing is, when you're a big artist and you know how you stay big, do you want to know why he stays in everybody's consciousness and the attention is when you think about how crowded the marketplace is, because a lot of people are putting out great records, is that whole complete story and the package, because it's keeping you interested beyond just the streaming to talk about the record and play it more. You think about how much stuff is thrown at people every week. You can get every week on your Spotify, whatever service you use, there's a new music list and there's 50, 60, 70 songs on it. What grabs your attention to stay and keep going back? And I think with him and being a big artist, it is important to have a campaign, because the music, I believe the industry needs that, because everything else can just be.
The public need it.
Yes, I think they do. And I think they enjoy it. I believe that is why he's as big as he is, because he gives you things that keep you interested. Well,
he has
visually.
A persona. I think what we're kind of saying, he's a performance. There's an element of performance art.
And he is stimulating you, a lot of your senses, what you see, what you hear, then you have emotions about it. He's giving you a lot of different things. So I think it is important. And to me, that's the art part, right? You know, it's like, he's not just like, I'm not just a singer, I'm an artist. Here's my art, and I'm creating this whole world for you during this Dawn FM period for you to kind of just jump in and explore with me. So that is really important when it's like Taylor Swift does it well with her eras, you know what I mean? And her fans are all in those different eras. Like,
but she's always the same album though.
No, she's not actually. If you really go and you look and hear what she's saying, it's like her image doesn't change so drastically. It did for that Reputation era. But what she's giving in those moments, and people, they buy into it. And I feel that, listen, he got me with this one, right? You know, like
They're very good. Yeah, it's anchored. It's sort of set up like a faux.
Starboy was a great album. Other shit, but we've never really sat back and said, all right, let's talk about the Weeknd and what he's really doing musically. But really, I just keep paying attention, and I'm like, you know what? You have my attention, and I appreciate the completeness of what you're giving. And I appreciate when he came out, it was all right there. Here's the music. Here's the video. Here is the story. Not that old school, like, here's this. Now wait a couple of weeks. Now we're dropping this. It's like, I feel like you have to feed people differently now, because it's just so much to consume.
Yeah, no, again, look, the guy makes great pop singles.
He really
There's no
does.
denying.
Yeah.
He works with, he's working with Max Martin, who couldn't make a bad song if he wanted to. Sorry. I've never heard a bad, even with Taylor, he managed to make Taylor Swift to me more, he cannot make a bad song. He also works with another producer whose name I cannot pronounce, but, he just makes interesting stuff. I like the fact that this sounds both reminiscent of people that we like, or people that you and I are old enough to remember that we like, and yet forward thinking enough without sounding like he's train spotting. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like he's jumping on trends. He's not a groundbreaking artist in a lot of time, but the ground he is covering is very good ground. He is always picked and choose from the best. I mean, you can't be mad at somebody who says, I want to be Prince, I want to be Michael Jackson. That's a way better than saying I want to be Chris Brown.
And listen, and some of those vocals on this album, he's giving me prime years Michael Jackson vocal. It's very interesting. You hear you hear that influence. But that just shows you, right? Those guys are influencing the generation after generation after generation is still influenced by Michael Jackson and Prince, which is amazing.
I just think that with The Weeknd, I actually think at this point, it's funny enough, I think the less we know about him, the better it is.
I like it. I think
that the less we know about it may be better. I would like,
it's old school artist shit. Remember, you didn't know everything. And that kept you wanting more because you didn't know everything. And I don't think we need to know everything about artists. I think some share too much. It's like you have to have the mystery. It's like people have to want you. They have to let them want to know more. That doesn't mean you tell them more.
Right. I mean, he may be unfortunately dating or sleeping with Angelina Jolie, but whatever, I mean, that's an unfortunate choice, but it's his decision. No, I don't hate her. I don't hate her. I think that she is kind of I think she does great work with children. I think she's an okay actress. She's not a great actress. She's
a great actress.
She is an okay actress. She is not one of the great. Okay. In my opinion, she is a good actress. How's that?
Okay.
She's
that's
not
fair.
one of our great actresses.
She's a great actress.
I think she is problematic as a human being and appears to
take people's husbands.
No, that's not even, you can't take someone's husband. You know what I mean? It's
no, but she does have a record of kind of
she doesn't appear to be a good person.
People are in relationships when they start the movie. They seem to be in different relationships when they end the movie.
I just feel, look, I don't ultimately, not to be mean and not to I don't ultimately sort of care about her in that sense. I don't really, she doesn't impact my life. I think what she does is good things. I think she's just sort of, she's a Hollywood star. I mean, you know, that's it. So I'm kind of joking around about that. I mean, he has always had sort of questionable taste in women, but fine. I've had questionable taste in men, If I want to keep things low key, I would not date a supermodel or a model. She's not a supermodel. She's a model. I don't know where the super gets put on everybody.
The supermodel was 5 ladies at a certain period of time.
Maybe 6. If you're in the George Michael Freedom video, you're a Freedom.
Freedom 90. And
if you're in that video, you're a supermodel. And then they just started
calling everybody that. I was like, no.
No. Kendall Jenner
if you
is
are not
an average
Naomi, Linda, what was it? Naomi, Linda, Chrissy. Was it
Claudia
Schiffer? And was it what's her name?
Oh my God! Come on,
Linda. No, we said Linda, right?
Come on, Cindy
Crawford.
And then that blonde-haired woman who's Nadia or something or other.
Yeah, like people. Some people will put in Nadia. Some people will put in Carla Bruni. You know what I mean? Because Carla Bruni. But that was a period of time. Certain women. The fact that they keep trying to have that drag through everybody was like, no.
I see girls that are as pretty as Kendall Jenner on a daily basis. And that's it. Yeah. All right. Oh, wow. This is a very, one of our segues from hell. All right. So, the circle of life, people pass away. I interviewed Bob Saget like a million years ago for Double XL of all places. And I didn't watch Full House. I mean, come on. That's not my, it wasn't for me, not my generation. But what was, by all accounts, Bob Saget, who passed away unexpectedly at age 65, they don't know the cause. What was always fascinating about Bob Saget is he had this reputation as America's dad and really wholesome. And in reality, he was the filthiest comedian known to mankind.
His jokes were the dirtiest jokes on the planet. They used to crack people into the just watch you can watch the entire film, The Aristocrats, but watch his clip, which is the ending clip of The Aristocrats. You can find it on the internet, and you will be sitting there going, holy crap, I can't believe he got away with this. It's he's so funny, and he was so beloved by everyone who met him. And listen, it's Man, listen, 2022 is swinging from the fences already.
Well, people die let's be honest. Come on, people die.
Yeah, but people,
time.
Yes, they do. But it's like 65 seemingly healthy people who are just starting a tour and just dying in their bed in a hotel room is unexpected. Like,
no, of course, it's very sad.
His family seemed very shocked. Like, it wasn't like he was battling some secret illness and they were like, oh my God, So it's just always sad. Like James Ntume. Is a legend in music. People forget that he started as a very serious jazz musician and played with, with Miles for years. And he was
his bassist, right?
And, for that whole like Dark Mingus period and all of those albums. And then, went on to write and produce shit that are classics. You Know How to Love Me, Phyllis Hyman, The Closer I Get to You, and Back Together Again, Roberta and Donnie and Stephanie Mills, Sweet Sensation, Never Love Like This before.
And then Juicy.
Yeah, the Entombed, his group under his own name when he was on Epic with Juicy Fruit and You, Me, and He, and just amazing body of work. Another, Black man dying at an age where you're just like, wow, this is just, I don't know, it's rough out here, man.
I think the thing with Entombed too, it's interesting because I sat down and I decided to listen because I obviously knew who he was. I knew who he was as a music fan and also someone who spent a good part of their career in Black music. And for a lot of people, he may be best known as Juicy was sampled very successfully in Biggie for Juicy. Juicy Fruit was sampled by Juicy. So that is the most well-known. What was interesting and reading the tributes to him, all very well discerned, is that there are still so many artists in this country who have almost parallel careers. Not that he is, the average person, the average white person, let's put it that way, could not name you a Frankie Beverly song. And yet Frankie Beverly is massively huge. And you could say the reverse for some white, for some more white bands, as well. But it's always interesting to me. Well, not always interesting, but there still are these pockets of stuff that crosses boundaries to a sense. If you're a jazz head, you knew who Matumi was. But if you're not a jazz head necessarily, if you're the average R&B fan, the average like pop R&B fan, you might not have known him. But listen, you can go on Spotify.
But you know the music.
You'll
hear that music and you'll be like, oh,
that guy.
Yes,
that guy.
You'll know the music.
And just also on a cultural note, Michael Lang, who was the organizer behind the original Woodstock in 1969, and then the not so successful 1999 Woodstock. Michael Lang passed away. He had a chronic illness, and I've spent a decent amount of time in the Woodstock, Phoenicia, Bearsville area. He was a beloved figure up there. He was very active in the arts community up there, and you can say changed the world. About very few people. He changed the world. Woodstock changed the world. It ushered into the whole idea of the mega festival like that. So RIP to the families of all three of these men. And thank you for your contributions to our worlds, our culture. You want to talk about what you're listening to, and then I'll talk about what I'm listening to these days?
Well, this weekend was it's very odd. I was going from Bobby Gentry, from her album of duets with Glenn Campbell, to Massive Attack's Protection album.
I love that album.
Which I've just been playing on repeat again for some odd reason.
Tracy
vocals so good. And then I kind of was having a Stevie Wonder moment with Music of My Mind, that album.
Which one? Remind me which one Music of My Mind is. What's the hit from that?
Music of My Mind has...
Before Talking Book?
Music of My Mind is Music of My Mind is the first one considered in the classic period. I believe Talking Book comes right after Music of My Mind.
So this is his first, I'm breaking with Motown, I'm going to have artistic control moment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, you can't go wrong. Come on. Music
Happier
of My Mind,
Than
Talking
the Morning
Book.
Sun, Girl Blue, Evil, Superwoman, which is my shit.
Superwoman, yeah.
Yeah, like really, really good. I just love this album.
I went back to Stevie a couple of months ago too, because I realized I hadn't listened to him in so long, and Talking Book and Fulfilling This First Finale were like soundtracks.
Well, Fulfilling This is my favorite.
Yeah, was my soundtrack in high school. I Believe When I Fall in Love. Oh, I mean, that is just an exquisite song, just from a composition standpoint. Well, I'm trying to get in touch with my inner whiteness, two things happened. And also I've been on, as you know, to the point of nauseum now, this ridiculous Anglophile television kick. But so I watched the documentary, which is about to be released nationwide and on video on demand, called The Story of Polystyrene, I'm a Cliche. Polystyrene, it's fascinating. And I remember that era. I remember my little punk rock household in San Francisco. We would get the new albums. We'd go to the record store and buy the records. They were only available on import. And we'd bring them back to the house and we would have dance parties. We would play.
Nice.
Yeah, no, the first Clash record and the first, but always the import because that was the cooler thing to do. And X-Ray Specs, Germ-Free Adolescence. Oh my God, that record still sounds amazing. And Poly Styrene was there was no one like her. She was a biracial British girl. You find out a lot about who died very young and died of cancer, but unbeknownst to the public at the time was battling mental illness throughout most of her 20s, which is usually when mental illness presents itself. They didn't play a lot in the States, but the film sort of centers around her coming they were on top of the pops. They were like a big group. They were not just some culty. So the film was made by her daughter. So it's sort of like her daughter reminiscing about being raised by someone who on paper was not a great mother. So it's an interesting look at motherhood, at fame, at race, and just the music. Oh my God. X-Ray Specs. So that's going to be on video on demand shortly. And then I've been listening to an artist named Sam Fender. This is his second record. He is not a new guy, but he's just now starting to get attention. To look at him, you would go, oh, he's going to be like a pop idol. He's like tall, he's blonde, he's really, got the chiseled cheekbones. He is from the north of England. He sings a lot about just small town, the people who got left behind, And he has been compared to Springsteen. There is a lot of Springsteen elements in him. It's very anthemic. There's a lot of horns. It's very much talking to the... listen, there are worse things in the world than drawing your influence from Bruce Springsteen. But he's really, really good. His new album is called 17 Going Under. He just had a big profile in the New York Times. It's just catchy. It's really catchy. It's smart. It's guitar music. It's like, there's elements of U2, but without the preachiness and the kind of tiresomeness of Bono. He grew to be tiresome, Bono. I mean, great live band. It's really good. Whether it will literally translate to the United States, who knows? Because it is very, very British. What?
He is annoying. I don't know why.
No, he's annoying. I don't know. And he's not. He's great.
He's right. He is great. He is great, but I completely know what you mean.
He's tiresome. Just sometimes you just go, shut up, Bono. You're saving the world. That's fucking great. That's great. Okay, cool. You saved the world. You're amazing.
It's like, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for saving the world. Okay. No, but he's great. You can't deny Bono. He is great. But anyway, Sam Fender, talk about a rock and roll name. Jesus Christ. That's like the best name ever. Sam Gibson would have been the only. But so he's definitely worth checking out. His album is called 17 Going Under. And it's great. So
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it almost that time?
That time. Yes.
Is it almost that time
for the cabal?
Is it almost
the International He-Man Woman Haters Club?
Is it that time? So who do I have to start pushing you to vote for to nominate for me?
All right, but can I tell you something really fucking? Let me tell you something really fucking funny. Okay. So I have. I'm obviously friendly with a lot of the people on the committee, but I'm more friendly with the women because women. And sometimes we get, once in a while, you get people like social media, like put so-and-so in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And some of it is like, there was a big campaign for Janet, for instance. There have been campaigns for Luther Vandross. It's fine. And they'll reach out to people. All right. One of the women on our text thing, she goes, look what I got.
Don't say the name though.
What?
I don't think you should say the name of the artist.
Oh, no, I have to. For this, the letter came. It was, okay, let's put it this way. It was from the daughter of the artist.
Okay.
Asking us to consider their father. Handwritten letter.
Mm-hmm.
The person we were just talking about? Bono?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so think of that name, but pronounced differently and not in YouTube.
Don't say too much because you got a meeting next week. You can't put people on blast.
But it was just hilarious, though. So I was a little bummed because she's like, did you get this letter? And I'm like, no. And I said, I haven't been to check my mail. So I went downstairs and went, oh man.
You didn't get one?
No. But anyway, so yeah, I don't even know who I'm once again in my qualm, I always have to I have this thing between people who I know will get in and people who I want to get in and people who I know and want to get in.
Right.
So that's
okay. Do you guys here's my pitch to you to say when you're in that room.
Pat Benatar, I know.
No, because I feel like because she didn't fight for it, they're gonna be like, fuck her. She was just like, fuck, it would be great, but like, and I don't blame her. I'm not gonna go beg you guys. Like,
no, of course not. That's sad. You don't do that.
But can you push for Shaka to get in on musical excellence this year?
Well, I can't say. We'll talk about it off camera.
It has been.
Yeah, I know.
I know. What's it gonna take?
I know. We'll have this conversation off camera, but yes, or off mic. Yeah. But I'm still kind of torn. You know, I want you
to nominate Nina Hagen.
I will never do that in a million years.
Why not?
Because I would never do that. I think she's talented, but it's not somebody I'm passionate about. I'm going to, not at all. Never do that. I would push for Kate Bush. But not Nina Hagen. Not even close. Don't even try. You can send me letters. Come
on. Like, listen.
Send me a subscriction for churros.
You can stand there trying to read the top. You'll be like, Ish Vakken Vixen
was her it's not top. Even that. I just never, I was definitely, that was my era of music and I admire her and I think she's talented, but no, there's not a body for me, there's not a body of work there. She's very good, but there's not a body of work for me. Okay. For me, she's not my cup of tea.
If you're going to be really offensive,
would I vote for her if she were on the ballot in strict? I might, but I would not. I would not bring it to anybody's attention.
Okay, how about
not because she sings in German. That's actually a selling point.
I know. No, I'm trying to think. Like, who's eligible this year? Do we know?
The main eligible person, the big name is Marshall Mathers this year.
Well, all of those white men in there, that's a lock.
Yeah. Well, in their defense, it's funny you say that because I looked up, he had #1 rap albums too. So, he's an undeniable force. And that's all. I'll leave it at that. He's an undeniable force. I don't know. I have to strategize. And then what will happen, as it does every year, is that I'll have a whole list of people and then get there and just blurt out the first thing that comes to the top of my head. I'll go, I don't know. There's so many. You know what? You could spend as much time as to who deserves to be in there as to who doesn't. And honestly, with rare exception, of course, everyone warrants to be in there. If they've made a serious contribution to the culture, they warrant it. It is, you can have all your arguments you want about the validity of it. I think that there is a lot to be said for the validity of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think it's important to enshrine and recognize.
Well, I hope your Rhythmics make it back on the ballot again this year. I really do. I really do. Because they should have gotten into me. I'm just bummed that we're not meeting in person again, which means
I love seeing everybody. I love seeing everybody. It's really half of the fun is seeing people you only see once a year and bonding. And the snacks are excellent. The cookies, they have those Italian wedding cookies.
I love Italian wedding cookies.
I love those. And they have little mini black and white cookies. I love, which are really not cookies, as we know, they're really cake. But since they make them small and round, we think they're cookies. So yeah, I'm sure next Wednesday I'll be in a state of frenzy as to what I'm doing. But nothing so far. All right. Would you like to do that thing that you do better? Well, there are many things you do better than everybody else, but only a few of them we can talk about on air.
I know, because this is a child-friendly podcast. But if you check out my OnlyFans, no. With me,
it would be an OnlyFans singular.
Right, I told everybody, well, I was going to start an OnlyFans, but I only have one ab, and I just, I don't know how much people are going to pay for that. So it's like, I might as well just sit here and do this.
Give him the good ab, though. Give him the good one. The good ab
from the left side as I twist.
Right, the left-hand side. Like, shoot your ab like Mariah.
You know what I'm saying? I live. All right, kids, you know the deal. You can find us weekly on the Pantheon Podcast Network, where there are over 70 music shows. You like a genre music, it lives there. So find us there. If you're listening to us there, thank you very much. You also can find us wherever you listen to your favorite shows. Tell a friend. Remember to rate us and leave a little star, leave a little comment, leave a little something, leave a little love. You can talk to us every day on Twitter at FinishIma, or at Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word, or on IG at ImmaLetYouFinish. You know the drill. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you for everyone. Our Facebook traction has grown exponentially.
Kind of, sort of, man. You guys are showing up and showing out on these posts. Yeah, you really are.
We put effort into what we put up there, and we really appreciate everybody checking it out. So thank you very much for that. It makes us happy.
Thank you
that we're communicating with people.
Yeah, and that you guys are kind of having conversations with us. We really enjoy it, and it's a good time, and you guys always show us a good time, and we love you, and we'll be back to show you a good time next week.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Maryland sports fans, there's only one sports book in the great state of Maryland with over 50 years experience booking bets and supporting customers. Betfred Sportsbook at Longshots is now open and is the only sports book in Frederick offering cash betting on football, basketball, world soccer, and more. Visit the Betfred Sportsbook at I-270 and MD-85 in Frederick, right next to Longshots off-track betting. Go to betfredsports.com for more information and your chance to win exclusive merchandise. Must be 21 or older. Play responsibly. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.